welcome to another episode of the Black Guy Who Tells podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we are live on a Monday, ready to give you some podcasting. The official weapon of the show is the folding chair, correct?
Folding chair.
And the unofficial sport,
bullet ball.
And bullet ball, extreme. The sale is still going on. We did put that episode in your feed now. We see people signing up. Thank you so much. Gotten emails from people asking, can we use other things to pay instead of PayPal? I got you. The blackguywhotips@gmail.com is the email address. So make sure you guys are doing that. And we appreciate all the follows that we're getting on the Guess the Race, Instagram, YouTube, and TikToks. We appreciate all that as well. Karen, you ready to do some banter?
I am.
Do you have any
banter? Talk to me.
Do you have any
banter? Talk to me.
Do you have any banter? Do you have any banter?
I do.
Banter. Talk to me. Banter. Talk to me.
Do you have any banter?
I do.
Banter. All right, Karen, banter away.
I am kind of proud of myself. I'm not going to say I'm non-tech because I do know somewhat of some tech stuff, and I feel like I don't know that much, but sometimes I meet people and I'm just like, oh, you know even less than me. I'm looking like, what are you in the bad condition? So I am very proud of myself. It's not non-techie, but I guess it is tech if you don't know. For cars, whenever they have like the ability to call through your phone, you can get it to mimic your phone, where it picks up, like if you have Apple or if you have like Google Play or Android, it picks up like your interface, where your interface can go across like your dashboard if you have like electronic dashboard. And we was having issues getting it, so I was like, you know what? There has to be a way around this, because it's a way around everything. And periodically, I think about what you said something that really stuck with me. You was like, there's nothing there's not a question or something that you're going through that somebody else hadn't already figured out the answer somewhere. It's just that you need to go kind of figure out what the answer. So I started Googling and searching, and I ran across this Reddit that was like, the model we have doesn't, like, it has the feature there, but you can't access it unless you get like a higher model, like a different model. So I was like, well, how do you do it? Then they started suggesting things. They have this thing called a dongle. And what a dongle does, it takes, because the imaging, like electronic stuff, has been around for a long time. And depending on the make and model of your car, you might not be able to do certain things just because it's like an older version of the car. And so this is a way to put the Android version or like the Apple version where it literally mimics whatever you have. And most dongles actually are for both Android and Apple phones. So I was like, I wonder if it's gonna work. So I took a chance and I bought one and I gave it to Roger, and I was like, I hope it works. And so I actually did my research. I was like, which one strings the best, connects the best? Actually, multiple can be used on multiple phones. Which one can you do like the street stuff like Waze and all that stuff, and it doesn't drag and drop. Like, I really was watching like a whole lot of YouTube videos to see kind of what was, the best one. And so I found one and I gave it to Roger, and it worked. So I'm very proud of myself, because that thing bothered me, because I was like, I wanted to mimic my phone. And how does it work? I haven't used it yet.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I put it on in the car. It works good. It's stuff like when you use Waze or Apple Maps or whatever, and it shows you directions. It'll show you in the center console panel, as opposed to not, you can like mess with your YouTube, because it got like not YouTube, because it's not stuff you can see, it's stuff you can like hear, like so you can't like watch TV on the shit. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I'm not gonna do that shit.
I'm pretty sure it is too,
but you can like do your Spotify on it, like, oh, I want to listen to this podcast or whatever, and audio only, no video. And I saw you could order Chick-fil-A on it too, but I didn't mess with that yet.
And I also made sure I had one that could work with your steering wheel, because they was like, these are the ones where, you know, if you're doing something, you can still use the same control on your steering wheels. You don't have to reach over, because, you know, a lot of modern cars, they have like the up, the down, all that stuff in your steering wheel just so you can continue to drive. And so some of the dongles allow you to do that and some don't. So I tried to make sure I got one that did, just for the simplicity of being able to just keep your eyes on the road.
Okay. For me, I've been, this is kind of a deeper thought, but this is something I've been thinking. It's not really a joke or whatever, but I've been thinking about how much people use social media to be outraged, to like be mad. Like, I don't know that they even log in knowing that they intend to be mad, but they are. And you know, I don't like anger in general. Not that we should lie about our anger or hide it or push it down, but I don't like people or myself to move out of anger, because I think it makes people illogical.
Agreed.
And I think if you're telling the truth, if you're righteous, you should be able to articulate logically through something without anger shutting it down, right?
Yeah.
And so there was this thing that's been happening for the last like couple of years that I haven't really talked about on the main show, but I've talked about a little bit on Balls E Sports because it's sports related. But it kind of came to a crescendo this weekend, and it made me think like, and that's why I'm glad I never really got on board with that. And it's the sports race war. Now, we've of course talked about the Caitlin Clark sports race war ad nauseum, and I think, you know, I feel very vindicated in the things I said. I feel like it all kind of came to fruition exactly as I thought it would. And, you know, you don't get a lot of, oh man, I was disagreeing with you, but you was right about that. You don't get that. So
yada 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 past it.
Yeah, and so this one was a similar thing for me. Deion Sanders and his sons, and Colorado football.
That has been the talking point all fucking weekend.
So for those that don't know, the NFL draft was this weekend, and his son Shador, who was a really good quarterback in college at Colorado and put up really good numbers there, he was in all these mock drafts projected to be like first round pick, second round pick at worst, maybe third at the very worst. And he got drafted, but he didn't get drafted till the 5th round. And the race war that this thing set off was insane. And it reminded me of Caitlin Clark in that there was a lot of bad faith, racist white people or trolls who, I don't know, but hopping on social media, because what they do now, they find these tentpole content factories, these things that people want to talk about, and they just say the most inflammatory things. So of course they were just hating on this kid, hating on talking shit about him, down to him, and knowing that black people would get mad about it. And black people of course were getting mad about it. We're human beings, and no one likes to be antagonized. And then of course you have, everything that's going on with just the NFL historically, college football historically, all this stuff. And the blackness of it all comes in at Deion Sanders is black, head coach of Colorado, black former NFL player, MLB player. Son is of course black, his kids are black. But Deion Sanders is very well liked, very well, like one of the most popular people on the planet. He's one of the last few like actual football celebrities. Like now we have people that are famous that play football, but they're not celebrities.
Right.
Like Tom Brady's not really a celebrity. Deion was bigger than life when he was playing, and bigger than life after the game. He's a personality.
That's the thing, personality, yes.
Polarizing at times, I'd say polarizing most of his life, but not polarizing, in my opinion, along a racial divide. Like, there's been times he's said and done stuff that I thought was foul to black people, and black people weren't fucking with him.
Right.
And I'm sure at the time white people did like the shit he was saying. Not really a political guy, not very outspoken about anything really. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus up and down, but that's football for you. Very flashy, very flamboyant. And in those ways, I think those indicators key to black people because we're very cool and flashy and flamboyant, and we stylistic, and we like glom on to people that are icons like that, whether they're standing for something or not, or whether they're standing for themselves. We tend to like back it up with blackness. Like, no, that's a black person, and we are supporting them for being black, even if that person is not necessarily supporting us back in those ways.
Right.
That being said, I've always liked and appreciated the idea of Deion Sanders, flamboyant athlete, but I did not follow everyone down the rabbit hole of black college coach, doing it for black people at the HBCU.
Nope.
This is all about blackness and what we need to do for our institutions. I just didn't go down that rabbit hole because I know we've known too much about Deion publicly for so long, and he's mostly about himself.
Right.
You can knock that if you want to. You can praise that if you want to. But I know when I see a person that's just hyper brand focused about them, reality TV show Deion, neon Deion, like, and that's fine. Like I don't expect more of him, so it doesn't bother me. I can't really be hurt or proud. It's just kind of like it's just Deion. And I think this is what happens a lot of times with these big personalities, especially black men personalities, but at this point, pretty much everybody. Like it's extended to a lot of different people that use blackness as social capital when it's convenient for them. Mm-hmm. Kanye West used to do this.
Yep.
Kanye West would bring up racism when he didn't get something he didn't want.
Right.
Like he wanted a fashion deal. They didn't give it to him. He was like, this is why fashion is racist. And black people, like a lot of people wonder like, why so many black people support Kanye after he said that shit? I'm like, because they were supporting him when he said that stuff about Katrina. Mm-hmm. They were supporting him when he said that stuff about fashion and how it's racist because he's not getting brand deals, and it's racist because he's not getting Grammys, and it's racist because they were supporting him, and he was wanting to be supported by them. But then whenever he didn't feel like being black that day, it was like crickets, right? And so, the Deion thing for me was like the way he left Jackson State. I'm sorry. I'm not a person that necessarily holds grudges in a way of like, oh, I'll never fuck with him, but I'll never forget it because I just didn't think he needed to throw that school and HBCUs in general and black people in their communities in the gutter on the way out.
Right. That will never sit right with me.
I would have been totally fine if he would have just said I wanted a different opportunity. I decided to go to the school.
Right, no problem.
But because he had preached a lot of blackness and togetherness for the couple of years he was there, mm-hmm. I think which is a good sales pitch to black people because we will come out and support you when you talk like that.
Right.
I think he felt like he needed to like say, it wasn't me who left y'all. It's that y'all black people in this school and these universities are bad. I'm good and I'm moving on to where it's better with white folks. I just don't think he need to do that. People can disagree. People can go, it's the truth. I don't know all that shit. I just know that that never sat right with me. Mm-hmm. I think just because something is true, when you're in a position of leadership like that, shitting on black people to go to a white university just felt wrong to me. Mm-hmm. And I'll never get over that as far as like just moving past it like it didn't happen. And it's why I never jumped onto now that he's in Colorado, he is the black Deion Sanders, black head coach, black man speaking for black people. I never was on board with that. Mm-hmm. And I saw people go for it, and I saw people do this thing where, and this is what happens, they don't watch college sports.
Right.
They don't really consume college football on a general basis. But for them, the race war and race is their sport. Right? It's just like Caitlin Clark. Most people didn't watch any women's basketball at all before Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese got into that bullshit. And then it was, I'm showing up to support the black person. I'm showing up to support this white person. Because what I'm really doing is supporting the race war. I don't really give a fuck about these women or this sport. I don't watch it anymore. Whenever Angel Reese got hurt, I'm not watching the WNBA finals. not watching the next year women's college basketball. All of a sudden, I don't have an opinion. Only time I want to bring up Paige Beckers is to shit on Caitlin Clark because I don't really support her ass either. I'm not going to talk about how cold a baller she is. I couldn't tell you a single fucking stat of anybody. I just want to pull up the racial grievance card because that's my pastime. That's my pleasure. Being mad is my entertainment.
Yes, and it's an addiction. It is an addiction.
And so this week, I felt like it was one of those tentpole moments where the racial pastime, the hobby of racial anger it peaked. And I didn't necessarily think that it was a straight line to race. So anyway, Shedeur doesn't get drafted. I think what happened, and Bomani talked about it on his podcast today, and I agree with most of what he said, but I think what happened was Deion Sanders is extremely well liked. Because he's extremely well liked, because Colorado was on TV way more than they ever were before, and it was literally, no pun intended, prime time viewing.
It literally was.
It was worth it. Like people, and so you had an influx of people that were rooting for blackness under, the guise of Deion Sanders. And I knew it was some bullshit when the black head coach didn't fuck with Deion Sanders and people was like flipping like this is racism. And I'm like, or that other black man who's also one of the few black head coaches just don't fuck with that dude.
Right. Like
that's it. Like they're rivals. He's not. But the fact that people try to turn it into like, well, that man must be a coon. I said, okay, yeah, this is not about sports. Y'all don't even watch the other teams. Y'all just watch Colorado.
Right. You don't
y'all
watch
root
nothing
for them
else.
every week. And that's fine. I don't really like college football like that. I follow it very passingly. But
right. Me too.
I know enough to know that like Colorado wasn't playing the hardest schedule. Colorado also was a very shitty program that Deion brought to relevance and way ahead of schedule of what anybody said. And I did predict that would happen on our sports show when I brought it up about how with the transfer portal.
Yes, you said it was
and
right
NIL,
for him.
I said Deion Sanders is going to turn that program around in record time and no one's going to be ready for it. So far from a hater. I don't say stuff about, I don't say the team is bad. I don't say Deion's a bad coach. I don't say anything negative. I've just been opting out of the race part of like, and as a black man, I'm like, no, as a Deion Sanders. Same way as a Kanye West. As a, there's these people out here sometimes where it's like, it's about them. And then sometimes it's about race, but mostly it's about them.
Right.
So Shedeur doesn't get drafted to the 5th round. And we see this fall in the draft because all these people had him near the top of the draft because of everything I just told y'all. It's content at this point. Big name. On games on TV all the time. Father is Deion Sanders. He has a very flamboyant style, braggadocious, very, like he's in your face confident. Some people don't like that shit, especially in black people. They don't like, overconfident, quote unquote, arrogant blackness. But the whole time, I was looking at this shit like, I don't know. He could be good. He could not be good. College is very weird like that.
Nobody knows.
Motherfuckers will put up big numbers and then you just find out, oh, it's the program or it's the dude he was throwing to or, oh, now that we actually have to evaluate their talent and how we think they're doing the NFL, it's just different than college. Now it's like, oh, he was holding the ball too long. Oh, he threw too many interceptions. And it's shit that I'm like, I honestly, I don't know. And I don't know how people feel so confident shitting on or praising too much of any of these college guys because it turns out weird all the time.
Yeah, you have people that are like high draft picks end up being a bust and not staying in the league. Then you have somebody that's further down in the draft and one of the picks that aren't like guaranteed and end up going on being Super Bowl champ. You don't know.
I thought Bryce Young was sorry until halfway through last season. Everything I'd ever seen of him in the pros was like, oh, I guess he's not good.
Right.
Damn. I wasn't hating. I wasn't hoping he wasn't good. It was just like, fuck, I guess sometimes it don't work. And then they change one or two things and then it does work. Guy like Johnny Manziel has to move around a bunch of fucking times before it fucking, before I think he like flamed out of the league or whatever.
He did.
And then the dude that's currently playing for the Bucks, what is his name, at quarterback. But like that dude had to like persevere. Baker Mayfield came in arrogant, cocky, struggled, moved around from team to team. Boom, got it together just 2 years ago, and suddenly got paid. So like, I don't know how anyone feels confident about football predictions, period. I think it's really an exercise in our own arrogance. And of course, it's content. Experts have to make. What the draft is a TV show.
Yes, everything is a big-ass TV show.
The draft specifically is a TV show. And what makes a compelling TV show is you find some storylines.
And the drama.
And you get the drama.
Yes.
And so the storyline for this year was Shedeur Sanders. I watched so much sports, like just in the background, just during the day. And Sports Talk was always talking about Shedeur Sanders the entire draft. Like you would have thought he was the number 1 draft pick.
You know what? You would you would have too, because it's almost like, is there anybody else in the draft? Like, he was literally, no matter what sports show you talked about, and they talked about him so much. This dude is hilarious. He made a video, and they was doing like the Pope, the thing for the Pope, and they was like, who gonna be the Pope? And they were doing jokes, and he came up, Shedeur Sanders. And then they was like, dun, 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 and everybody sat down. It was like, yeah. And then it was like, yeah, the new Pope gonna be Shedeur Sanders. And it was, but that's literally just how much, like, if you didn't know anything or wasn't following, you was like, most people would be like, I guess he gonna be one of the top picks, because like Roger said, they literally talked about him 24/7 all the time. He got talked more than the number 1 draft pick. I don't even know who the number 1 draft pick was.
Yeah, Cam Ward was the number 1 draft pick. Who is also a black quarterback who is very confident, and many would say cocky and arrogant. He was the number 1 pick. So that's another reason that I'm not doing this whole, like, this is racism.
Right.
I don't think what happened to Shedeur Sanders was racism. I'm just going to say it like that. Now, you can never completely erase racism from America. So it's racist in the fact that, like, all the same racism that all the other players are facing, he's facing. But it was not a specific, like, this black boy, we gonna teach him a lesson.
Right.
Especially, and I don't think he got blackballed. I don't think it's like Kaepernick. Kaepernick stood for something. I actually think, and like, this is what's been bothering me this whole time, is like, then did people even really respect what Kaepernick was doing? Or did they just want to throw his name up there to be like, black man, and I'm mad at the NFL? Because like, Kaepernick stood for something. Like, when he took that knee, he articulated exactly why.
Yes, he did.
Shedeur's just a kid, and he's a very confident kid. I don't begrudge him for that. I hope he goes on to be a great player too.
Same.
But like, he wasn't like saying anything that would make the NFL not pick him.
Right.
You know, and because he's a young kid, I'm very cautious of the fact that at some point you're going to do some shit that is not the pro-black agenda, and these motherfuckers are going to flip on him.
Yes, they are.
Because that's not his doctrine or his play. Like, he doesn't talk about these things. He's not the guy the league is afraid to put in front of a camera because of he's going to be too racially aware. He's going to say the thing that the white men that run the league don't want. Like, I don't think that's what happened, and that's fine. But I think so many put so much, and I did say this about Deion last year. So many, I didn't realize how many black men look up to him as like a aspirational figure. And I think my whole life I've just kind of looked at him as a singular figure. Like,
yes,
he is Deion Sanders. You can't make him stand for anything other than Deion. Like, I've never watched him and thought, man, standing for the black man. I was like, yeah, he's about himself, and he's about his money and all that shit, you know, made a song about it. Anyway, all this stuff to say, looking at how angry people got, and how, to me, like I said, the logic wasn't adding up. Like, to say, oh, it's about racism. Is it about racism when Cam Ward's going first? Like, right. We're way past the point of we're being racist against black quarterbacks to our detriment. And the reason I'm only saying that is because money won out. Not because I think these white men that run the league aren't racist, but unless that black quarterback is up there talking about Black Lives Matter every day, they don't give a fuck. They're just like, we want the money and we want the dude on our team. That's it. You know, even when they were, I would call colluding, although allegedly colluding, I don't want to get sued, against Lamar Jackson a couple years ago when he was about to be a free agent. Even when that happened, I was like, that's about trying to get the money. Like, to them, they're like, what we can't have is any of these quarterbacks going out and using us against each other to get a whole lot more money than we would have gave them. And because he was the best quarterback in the league, a record-breaking amount of money that they thought would have broke the system. Now, that being said, who knows what would have happened if he was white? I don't know, you know, because I think they've overpaid quarterbacks. We've seen that happen all the time.
Yes, we have.
Kirk Cousins is one.
Right, paying them all that money fucking suck.
Yeah, so we see them overpay, but they wasn't trying to break the salary cap, whatever. But anyway, I didn't care about so much about that. But my point being, like, I never really got behind this whole Deion is representing black people thing. And I think that's why I was able to like sit back this week and just kind of be like, damn, people are addicted to being mad. Cause like, it's one thing to be mad when you're right. It's another to be trying to like fit the logic into something because you're so angry. You're just moving the goalpost in your own argument to be like, and this is, you know, see, they want to humble. They tired of these black men not being humble. I'm like, have y'all seen Travis Hunter? That's not a humble motherfucker. Motherfucker said, I am playing both positions in the NFL, defense and offense. And if a team picks me and I don't get to, I will quit football. You don't get more confident or arrogant than that. This is not what this shit is about. They just don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to be that good. Now, they could be wrong. I hope they're wrong.
I agree, too.
I'm never rooting against any of these players, to be honest.
But everybody looked at everybody.
To me, if they thought he was Travis Hunter level skill set, he would have been there. And a big thing that's been happening behind the scenes is that Deion Sanders was his son's agent. And I don't know if he was Travis's agent, too, but he was definitely his son's agent. He had two of them in there, Shiloh and Shedeur. Anyway, point is, he was even treating this process very flippantly for his own kid. Like, it's only a handful of teams I'm gonna allow him to go to, and if they, you know, like, if he don't want that, he ain't playing. If you draft him, and we told some teams no, and it was like, oh, you're talking about him like he is the number one pick. Because that's the kind of shit that happens with the number one pick. Rarely, but it does happen. Eli Manning was one of these guys.
Yes, he was.
A long time ago. He was the number one pick, and his dad took over the process. I don't think anyone thought he was the number one level pick. And unfortunately for him, when it came down to what people want to deal with and shit, I think when people say it's about his father, I'm like, it could be about his father as his agent. Like, I don't think it's about his father, because like, them white men love Deion. Deion walks the line. Like that's why I don't like the reframing of this like he's some racial radical that the league is afraid of. No. They fucking love Deion Sanders.
Yes, they do.
He made them so much money, and he don't say shit that would fuck the league up ever. You ain't never seen him come out and say something that made us go, God damn, man, I can't believe he called them out like that. That's not his role. No one's expecting that. So anyway, I know that's a long thing that wasn't really funny, but it just made me think, like, the addiction to anger is crazy, and when you step out of it, like the way I was able to step away from the like Caitlin Clark thing and just like watch it from 1,000 feet away without participating in it.
Right.
Same thing I've done with Deion and his whole like coaching arc. I've been able to watch it from 1,000 feet away without participating in it, because the reason I'm talking like this is because I don't be on the internet going back and forth with racist
arguing
people.
with people.
But
right.
if I did, I'm not above that. If racist people were in my mentions every time I brought up Deion or Colorado, I'm sure if I was of the mindset to read that shit and reply, it would start making me feel like, no, this is Martin Luther King of football, and y'all not gonna talk about my black leader Deion Sanders and his son, you know. But that hasn't happened for me. You know, similar with LeBron. I haven't felt like this thing with him and Stephen A has turned into a like, man, and see, this is what they do to black fathers. Like, I don't like, it doesn't even have to get to that to me. I think Stephen A don't like LeBron.
Right.
That's all it needs to be for
that's
me.
It, right.
The world doesn't need to try to take him down because he's black. Some of these niggas are jealous because he's LeBron, you know, who happens to be a black man. So anyway, all that to say, like, this weekend was crazy watching that shit go down the timeline and people turning on each other and getting mad at each other because or whatever. But I think really between therapy, reading Conflict Is Not Abuse, and just like stepping back from a lot of the like online discourse, especially having the podcast, I just remember how much I used to feel everything. And I used to feel I was so easily moved by other people's anger and other people's conflict. And now it's like it's like I'm on a train in a different car and I'm looking in their car and they all fighting and I'm just like, yeah, not for me. And it's not that I never get angry. It's just like when I get angry, I own it because it's mine. It's 100% off of me.
Yes, sir.
It's not because y'all was mad or because so and so was saying something. It's because I genuinely feel that way. But the last thing I'll say before I move on is the other part that really gets my eyebrows up about this kind of stuff. I don't like black people that do I'm gonna use the racial part of this when it's convenient for me, but I don't really speak up or stand for black people. And so then we end up supporting these people, and when they do pull a Kanye later and we go, man, they betrayed the community, I'm like, did they?
Right, did they?
Did they though? Like, at least with Kanye, he spoke about black shit. Like, at least you got 4 or 5 years of his career where he was talking about black issues and race. I don't know that Deion did that. Not in a way that would make me want to be like, yeah, man, I gotta stand up. I gotta stand 10 toes down for this dude.
Right.
It just feel like whenever it's time for these people to move on, they just move on, you know.
Yep.
And Stephen A will say a couple good things about race, and then people ready to bring them back, and then it's like, nah, it's about Stephen A. It's not about us. You know, us is different.
Us is different, and when people speak about us, they're consistent about it. But like you say, the thing is, and a lot of celebrities and a lot of people have done this, all of a sudden they're very quiet on race and racism and blackness and all that stuff, but you let them get in trouble or you let something happen to them, all of a sudden they're black and they're coming towards us. And I understand that you brought this up. We are such a forgiving people to a fault, because at some period of time we got to realize that everybody that speaks about black and blackness is not for the group nor the cause.
Well, some of these don't even speak for black people and blackness.
Right, at all.
Like, that's what's crazy to me. And like, just without putting anybody's information out there, there was a lot of scuttlebutt about how the like draft process was handled through Deion Sanders for his kids. You know, one of his kids actually went and got an agent after the draft, got Drew Rosenhaus, which says a lot. The fact that you were able to get Drew Rosenhaus, that's part of being Deion Sanders' kid, because he wasn't even the one that people thought was gonna get drafted. Like, so like, to be able to get Drew Rosenhaus as a big name agent means like you got connections. But people were like, well, they picked people before him that weren't even as good as him. I'm like, one, that's what we think. All of them gonna have a chance to prove it in the NFL. We'll see. Maybe they will be better than him. Maybe they won't. But two, if you fucked off the draft process, if you fucked off the interviews, if your father was talking about he might not want to go to your team, it'll be up to me.
That people gonna feel the way.
Teams are going to, and it's not even about feelings. I'm just talking about probability.
All right.
I'm not talking about people getting offended. Like, that's the thing. Everyone made it into something personal. A team it's all risk assessment. They're just like,
yeah, it's all risk. Yeah.
You know what? We don't want the guy who, in our minds, we thought would have been the third best quarterback on our roster when they came in. We don't want him having the ego of, you know, the chosen one. Like, We don't want to have to deal with his dad being his agent and being in the media shitting on us. Right. You know, it's not like LeVar Ball was his son's agent.
Right.
Like there's a level to it where I can see how a team arrives at that conclusion without it being like, we hate this black person because they black. It's a lot of other variables.
And like somebody said, it's a job interview.
Yeah.
And so people are interviewing you for a job, and it's like you're making the things that you do will reflect on if you get the job and where you place at that job.
And they're making people have to come out and leak the shit. I think this is different to me than the character assassination that happens whenever they decide to like destroy somebody, because we've seen that before. Like, because a lot of times, and the reason that happens a lot of time with these teams, they actually do it so they can get the player. That's what's fucked up. They'll be like, I want to lower this guy's value, so all of a sudden a leak comes out and it's like, Dez Bryant was terrible in his in his interviews. And it's also somebody can go, well, if you can just drop him a couple more spots, we might get him on our team. And then Dez Bryant still ends up going as a high pick because everybody's like immense talent. We're not scared off by that shit at all. They drafted people number one that literally were involved in vehicular homicide. They've drafted people number one that have been like criminals. So this isn't about like, if they thought he was talented enough, they wouldn't give a fuck about any of this shit.
Yep.
They just don't think he's good enough to justify the attitude or the lack of preparation.
Yeah, the risk assessment.
It's all risk assessment shit.
Right.
So it's kind of wild that people were able to be manipulated into just like race war. It's so easy.
And it was that simple. It's always easy.
It's so easy. It's scary.
That and gender wars is the most simplest shit to get people to argue about.
It's scary to me. I think a lot of the loyalty that Shannon Sharp engendered over the last couple years is only because Skip Bayless and him got into those arguments.
Yes.
And when Skip disrespected him as a black man, you know, with the put your glasses back on, it felt very racial for us. Mm-hmm. And so people then turned him into like a racial hero, but he never was. Mm-mm. He don't talk about us or for us like that.
No, he talks about him.
He talks about Shannon Sharp and the things he wants to do. When he was able to turn the other cheek for Skip and act like it was no big deal, people was like mad at him, and I'm like, but that makes sense. He's about his money. That was a great TV segment. He's not gonna crash out on the air. Everybody, he gonna choke Skip. He gonna do. No, he's not.
He's not fucking up his
That
coin.
dude is one of the most singular focused men on his brand and his money I've ever seen. When it comes to just like, I'm gonna get to the bag. Mm-hmm. And so he got to the bag. But then because people fall for this like, he's our racial hero shit. When all the other cracks start coming out, the blatant misogyny that he revels in. Yes. And you just excuse it. The messiness of his Shannon Sharp Club Shay Shay podcast that just started so much riffraff. And if that was a woman, the same people that go up for him would be hating him. Right. They would be like, I don't understand how he gets away with doing terrible interviews. They hate DJ Vlad, but they love Shannon Sharp. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, just weird shit like that I've picked up on over the years, and I went, no, Shannon Sharp not joining in on this, not my hero. Entertaining. I feel like I'm far from a hater. You know, Stephen A. Smith, entertaining. Yes, like, this isn't about shitting on these people. It's just
they do their jobs very well.
You have to accept them for who they are and what they are.
Right.
And these are who these people are. And so, I think a lot of people end up looking silly in the long run because you look up and it's like, why are you holding on to Shannon Sharp? What is he giving you to hold on to? Miles and Yak? Like racial stereotypes that he did on the airwaves, and then turn around and told black women to be nice to Caitlin Clark, and this white woman gonna get y'all some money, so y'all need to shut up. Like, who the fuck? Why are we applauding him? What does he really stand for? Why is that the bastion of blackness? You know? So it's just, stuff like that I've just really been seeing through the last few years, and I just wanted to use this time to bring that up.
No problem.
Any more banter stuff?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
No problem. I got one more. Excuse me, and it's just a short one. We got this box that I have, and I've had it for years, where I keep all like the important documentations And, the shit that they tell you're supposed to keep, your birth certificate, Social Security, and all this type of stuff. Well, today I went through it and I started cleaning it. Lord have mercy. I can't speak bad about my mama no more. I turned into her. I'm that old ass lady. Because when I went through that shit, it was shit from jobs I don't have no more, insurances I don't have no more, TVs we done threw away. I had paperwork on cars we don't drive no more. Them shits was like 2009, 2003, 2000. I was like, why the fuck am I was like, oh, because and I think it was a paranoid thing. In my mind, I was like, if these bitches ever come back and tell me something, I want to have it in paperwork. And I don't got better now because I'm like, okay, let's move on to, reality as far as, paperless. But back then, I was like, if that computer glitch or something happened and y'all come looking at me, I'm going to put out the paperwork. I'm going to fuck about what your computer say. Here's the paperwork, bitch. So, and that's what my mind was at that period of time. So I went through and a lot of that stuff, which I actually do not need anymore, don't even apply no more. We done paid the loans off. I got rid of all that shit.
Yeah. Nah, we did have some old stuff in there. It was just like, wow, what is this? I don't even remember this car. You know?
Right, dude. Did we have that Toyota? I don't remember.
Yeah. And I do want to bring up one more thing about the Shador Sanders thing because I just know someone's gonna email in about it. And once again, I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I'm just trying to be as clear-minded and honest as I can be. So, I'm not joining in the fray specifically because of that. You notice I didn't call nobody stupid or dummies or whatever because I think it's important to say these things without malice or anger or intent. People will pick up on shit if they project it onto me, but I'm not. Right. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm not calling anybody race baiters or stupid or any of that shit. I just think we are all hurting and people are finding the code in commiserating. And being like, at least we got the code, at least we together. And I'm like, I don't want to be miserable though. So there was a prank played on Shador during the draft, and it happened to a couple other kids too. But someone got his phone number and pretended to be like a team that was drafting him, and they got caught on tape and everything because he was live streaming it or whatever, and it was very hurtful, very fucked up. He was already going through a slide in most people's minds. Right. It was one of the most, it was a very fucked up thing to do. And they found out it was the kid of the defensive coordinator of like the Falcons or something. And the kid apologized through a statement. And the team said they're going to reach out to the family. And, people were like, there's no discipline going to happen to the coach. Like, why aren't they doing something to the coach? And once again, you're just angry.
That's true.
What's to be done to that coach? Really?
Yeah, the coach didn't do it.
Like, the coach got a fucked up kid. That's what it is.
Right.
That kid is fucked up. One of the statements was like, he's a good kid. Or someone put out a statement calling him a good kid. And I was like, that's not a good kid.
Not if you do some.
First of all, he's 21.
Not if you do some bullshit like that.
First of all, he's 21.
Right, you're an adult.
Right, number one. Number two, no. That's not good. There's not a good way to spin it.
Right, and you knew
it's
it was
not
wrong.
harmless. The kid put the video on social media, so he wanted people to know it was him. Because content over everything, right? Like that. And so people want to I don't even know what they want done to the coach. It's like they want him fired or something. But
yeah, that's not
it. But more than likely, the kid violated his father's privacy and shit to get that number.
Yes, because I guarantee you he ain't had no business with that number in the first place.
Stephen A. Smith was on TV talking about the kid need to be beat up and shit by his dad and stuff. I was like, this is crazy. And I'm sure for Stephen A. it's because him and Deion text and they friends, and so he got to go on TV and stand up for him in a way he would never stand up for, I don't know, Colin Kaepernick, who actually was speaking up and blackballed. And then you went on TV and excoriated him instead of the league for that shit. So, yeah, it's just a lot of weird allies and bedfellows on this joint. But, all right, that one got a little deep. And we actually don't have that much time, so I'm going to move into some other stuff. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions were announced.
Okay, got a new crop this year.
Apparently, we got some new entrants.
Okay.
For this year, And they're gonna also be doing like a tribute to artists during it. So the newest entrants announced during the live broadcast are Bad Company, Chubby Checker.
Ooh.
I would have thought he was in it.
Already on it, right?
Yeah. The twist was, I thought, but maybe he didn't need it more than one hit. I don't know. But he had a lot of twists.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, more twists than M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes, he did.
Joe Cocker, Cyndi Lauper.
I'd have thought she would have been in it.
Outkast.
Wow, that's big.
Outkast with a K, because the South got something to say. Let's go.
Come on.
Soundgarden and the White Stripes.
I like that list.
The people that didn't make the cut this year were the Black Crowes, Billy Idol, Manna, and Fish. Fish didn't make it. Wow.
Right?
All first-time nominees. All right. I'm surprised Fish didn't make it. I'm gonna be honest, but maybe that's just because I worked with a dude that was a fish head or whatever they call themselves.
Large, huge fish fan. Yeah, I don't know everybody on that list, but there are some people I was like, you should have been on the list. Like, I don't.
And it seems like Mariah Carey and Oasis didn't make it, and Joy Division and New World Order didn't make it this year. I'm surprised Mariah didn't make it. This is her second year too that she was eligible and didn't make it.
Wow.
Yeah. So the veteran jam band Fish won the fan vote with almost 330,000, about 50,000 more than the next highest, Bad Company. But contrary to popular belief, winning the fan vote does not guarantee induction. So they didn't get in because of that. They're also going to be recognizing Salt and Pepper, and Warren Zevon will be recognized with the Musical Influence Award.
What does that even mean?
I think it's like a celebration of like their impact on the game. So it's like, oh, Salt and Pepper, you know, these iconic women rappers that spawn so many other people.
But they're not an inductee.
They're not getting inducted.
Okay.
I don't know if that means they're already in or what. I don't know how that works.
Okay,
yeah,
no problem. I was just asking. I don't know either.
But I thought that's cool that they getting in.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Outkast.
I mean that they're getting a tribute.
Same.
And yeah, man, Outkast. Wow.
Yeah, as somebody who basically was around a whole span, you know, that means something to me. And for me, as somebody from the South, you know, 85 right up the road, and it was one of those things. I remember when they won that award, it was like the South got something to say. I was like, yeah. You know, like it means something from somebody coming from the South, particularly at that time, because everybody act like hip hop was New York centric, which I understand, but they act like nobody else was impacted by hip hop, and if it wasn't quote unquote New York hip hop, it wasn't real hip hop, and that's not the same. We all maybe rap at different cadences, and just like they rapped about subways and things like that, they rapped about cars and shit, because that's what we do down here.
And also what I thought was cool about them was they were so impactful on the game that eventually like all the other coast and people started biting off the South. Like I still remember when like you would hear like Jada Kiss on a Crunk song and shit, and I'm like, that's the influence. And I'm not against that kind of shit. I actually like when we blend together. I know a lot of people get very territorial and standoffish, but I love to see the combination of people coming together out of mutual respect, not just stealing their shit and trying to like do it, but like being like, yo, what would Jada Kiss sound like on a Lil Jon song? I want to hear that.
Right. And also, you know, because I love rap, I love the coast, East Coast, West Coast, how we all kind of influence each other. And honestly, because we all influence each other, eventually the genre starts evolving, the genre starts changing, you have more blending, you know, because as somebody who, you know, I don't really know a lot of West Coast rappers, but the ones that I do know, I like a lot. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where they got introduced to me, you know, through everybody just kind of being a big ass mixing pot.
Yeah, somebody brought up Raekwon on Skillet on the Barbie. That was it, man. I still remember that shit where I was like, wait, is that Raekwon? Like, what?
And it probably challenges the rappers
Mafioso didn't bag it up, though. I was like, who? Nah, that's not. That is Raekwon. Like, that was good. That was good times. That was back when I would buy the CD and just throw it in my fucking my player in my car without even looking at the tracks, because I would just get it straight from the store, put it in, and then I would be surprised at the features because I hadn't had a chance to look it over and be like, oh, Raekwon is on here.
Yeah, we found some CDs and was like, wait a minute, we ain't got no CD player.
Let's see. I think this is a big thing we've been talking about, and I predicted that this would happen.
Okay.
So of course, I have to get my flowers from myself. But Ziff Davis and IGN. Ziff Davis is a company, not a person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, who?
Yeah, do your thing. Ziff Davis and IGN sue OpenAI for copyright infringement.
Yep, you said that.
I told y'all it's not the little people. It was gonna be these big companies with some money that was gonna be the ones to be like, "Hey,
stop stealing
you're
our
just
shit.
Stealing."
That's what everybody been saying. You're just stealing.
Rob was right. Rob was right. Rob was right. Yep, Rob was right. Yeah, Rob was right. Whoop, what was that again? Oh yeah, Rob was right. Rob was right.
Right, baby. You're just stealing. And I've listened to like professionals and podcasts kind of over the years talk about this and go into real deep depth about what AI does. And they basically like, it just goes through and comb. It doesn't come up with anything new. It doesn't come up with anything creative because it's not its idea. So when they talk about this AI shit, it's like, oh, y'all aren't coming up with anything new. You're just taking some shit, mixing and blending it together.
I told y'all, man, it's a grift.
Right.
It's actually not intelligent. It's just copying people's homework. It's not coming up with anything new or by itself. It's just going, here's some work a human already did. Let me copy that and paste it and tell you that it's something new and sell it. Now let me keep that person from making money. Like when Google returns you some AI results, instead of linking you to the website that it stole those results from,
right?
That's someone's revenue that is now keeping you on the google.com and not whatever information you was looking for.
Right. And what's so sad, a lot of these sites, particularly Google, wouldn't be surprising. I don't know the statistic if people stop using Google as much, because Google used to be the most accurate site. But once they was like, oh, we're going to go to AI, ain't no fucking telling what you're gonna get sometimes.
Yeah, and I don't even know if people stop using it or not. I don't know what the stats are, but the point is they had already made themselves a brand.
Right.
They're just cashing in on the brand. To search for something means to Google it.
Yes.
That's people say that. It's like Xerox means to copy.
That's true.
Right. And so at this point, they'll never lose as much of the brand as they gained. Meaning, no matter how shitty those results are, no matter the fact that they switched it and it's not really giving you what Google now doesn't mean what it used to mean.
Nope.
Google used to mean here's some links to some experts. Now it means here's a copy and paste from an AI that may or may not have got it right. Who knows?
Right. Depending on the algorithm we told it to search.
Yeah. And so now you got a completely different paradigm. And I guarantee you that people are getting less accurate results, but to Google's like, we stole it. Who gives a fuck? So anyway, I love to see that they're being sued. I know they're not the only ones that are suing OpenAI. I forget I want to say New York Times is suing them.
Yeah, people with money, go sue them.
And Ziff Davis
Hope you
is
win.
big. They do IGN, Mashable, CNET, ZDsNet,
Yeah.
PC Mag, Lifehacker, Baby Center, Everyday Health.
They seen their profits dropping. And they got the money to be like, why? And somebody investigated and was like, hey, we did it and it hits here, and the people never clicked the sites, and somebody said, the fuck?
And they just taking your word for word the work that you put in.
Right.
And just being like, oh no, the AI says, it's like the AI didn't say that.
AI said,
the AI stole that.
yes, you did. This is my work.
So yeah, I appreciate that happening, and I hope it continues to happen.
Keep suing them.
All right, we got to get out of here because I have a hard out at 8. I got another previous engagement with a podcast, but we will have a little bit of sword ratchetness before we hop off of this bad boy. Here we go.
a sword and drove off in a police car after being pulled over for reckless driving is sitting in the Davis County Jail. The police chase crossed state lines from Warwick County, Indiana to Davis County, Kentucky.
31-year-old Nina DeVille is facing a string of charges. Today, Eyewitness News' Sydney Davis sat down with DeVille for an exclusive jailhouse interview.
Okay, now you know she crazy, because in addition to driving them across state lines or whatever, county lines, the fact that you would want to do an interview with the news before you even had a trial, like, you already had a sword, ma'am. Like, I got a feeling she's not about to be the best interview as far as getting her logical points across. That's my guess.
We do want to know the police identified DeVille as a man, but DeVille told us she identifies as a woman.
Communicate with me, dog. Like, just talk to me.
Behind bars and still recovering from gunshot wounds, Nina DeVille tells me the high-speed chase that landed her here.
First of all, the resilience to be able to get shot and then give an interview that's that and like
you shoot me. I ain't even put no cameras in my face.
I would be laying in the hospital bed with the things beeping, drugged up, and she's already out here like, listen, okay, first of all, I didn't even stab that many people.
Wasn't a part of some master plan, but it all happened just before 10 a.m. on Monday. A traffic stop for reckless driving in Chandler, Indiana, caught on camera with a quick shift to sword swinging.
Oh, she is swinging that shit, and she got a helmet on too, which make, obviously you're not gonna be able to just physically accost that person. Like, oh, she lucky she didn't get killed, right?
And ends with a police vehicle stolen. Wrecked.
Oh, she stole the police car.
The person law enforcement.
Wow, this is some Grand Theft Auto shit.
And has deemed responsible. Nina DeVille says she was headed to check on a friend who shared they had experienced domestic violence the night before.
Just to say, hey, what's up? You doing okay? So I was in a hurry, but I was not like being reckless or nothing.
As she exited the vehicle with her hands up, she says her first intention was
this. By the way, I know it's not funny, but this chase looked like some Reno 911 shit.
It does, doesn't it?
The way he's chasing her around that car and she's running off whoop all over the place.
It does. You can't lie. They caught you on video.
Right.
Talk to the officer.
And shout out to whoever recorded this.
Right.
They holding the camera steady. Now, they didn't turn it sideways, but they holding it steady. Like,
that's all you need. Just hold it steady.
They zooming in, zooming out.
Right. Don't turn it.
Yeah.
Of communication made her uneasy.
He said, get on the ground, get on the ground. Now, I got this feeling in me like, if I get on the ground, let him cover me. I'm not leaving this place alive.
That's when she says she grabbed a foam sword.
I said, hey.
A foam sword. Yeah, that is crazy. Because you could have got killed by the cops with a sword that can't even hurt them.
With a Nerf sword.
Wow.
This is a toy sword, dog. This is a LARP sword. I'm just keeping my space from you because
a LARP sword. Is this a joke? This really happened?
Wow.
Wow. What are you doing?
I did not trust him.
In this video,
I now see why she didn't get shot right away then. Because I'm not saying she shouldn't have got shot or whatever. But if that was a LARP sword, I could see the cop being like, come on, you stealing my cruiser. Don't get out the car. What are you doing?
Right. On his side, it's just more annoying than anything.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to kill you. What the fuck?
Billy can be seen swinging it at the officer.
You know what live action role play is? You ever seen Grown Ups? That's what it was. It was a toy sword, dog. It was made out of camp mat and foam, and it is inspected and regulated. Now, this one I actually bought from a professional. This is not one I even made myself. I bought from a professional, and it's made specifically to hit someone with full contact and not injure them at all. So he was completely safe that whole.
That's insane. That's an insane thing to say. Hey, the cops supposed to know that it's not meant to hurt you. That I'm swinging this sword at you.
They don't know that.
She must have been going through like some sort of mental health epidemic. It's episode.
And then you still in their vehicle.
Yeah, it's no way. This was not logical thing. The fact that she's sitting there trying to explain it logically is the funniest part. Like, she don't have to look back at this interview and be like, "Damn, I was wilding."
The Chandler police officer fires several shots at DeVille, who hops into the officer's patrol vehicle.
Well, I think the first time I had my hands up like this instinctively.
The 130 miles per hour speed chase all the way across the Natural Bridge
130
until she lost control of the Chandler police crew.
And this town looked like something out of Justified. This ain't no major city.
In a field just past Owensboro Racing and Gaming. Law enforcement say she then ran about 300 yards and attempted to fight a Davis County deputy before being tased.
300
I was trying to
yards.
get to Kentucky to get to some cops over here and be like, I need to report a crime. I've been shot by a cop. And I'm not going to the same police department that shot me to report that crime. If I had known that he was Davis County.
Report that crime. All right, y'all. That's it. I got to go. Thanks for listening, everybody. It was a good episode. We'll get to more stuff, I'm sure, during the next episode or something. All right, y'all. Till next time. I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. I got to go.
Peace.
This is crazy.